How's it going, guys? This is Lesky, and today I'm bringing y'all a formation and tactics video for FC24 clubs. I've had quite a bit of comments requesting a video like this, and I feel like now it's a good time to release this video. I'm going to be showing y'all 5 different formations that my club likes to use, depending on how many players we have on and what position and build each of us wants to use and play. So hopefully this video can improve your club's tactics and help y'all win more games. But before we take a look at these formations, I want to mention a crucial gameplay mechanic that your club's captain needs to be doing to help y'all defensively, and that is the second man press button, which is holding RB on Xbox and R1 on PlayStation. This is so crucial to have your bots press the opponents on the ball and win it back as quickly as possible, but you do need to be careful with it at times because it can potentially drag a defender out of position. So make sure to keep that in mind. That's basically the single man press, but there's also a double man press, which is more like an off ball press. And in order to do that, you click RB or R1 twice and then hold it after you click it a second time. This will tell 2 of your CPU players to mark the closest player to them, which can be really good for having them tracking players running into the box for a cross or running in behind for a through ball. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned this at the start of the video, because this will greatly improve your AI's defending, and if you weren't already doing this, then definitely start doing it now, and I bet your team will start winning a lot more matches. All the formations I'll be showing y'all today are quite different, which is what I was going for, so y'all can have some options and different styles of play. The first one we'll be looking at is the classic formation that you see in all of the drop-in matches. I think this is a very balanced formation, and it's one of the ones my club uses the most. Let's now look at the tactics, and then we'll go to the instructions for this 4-3-3-4 formation. And for a lot of these tactics and the instructions, it will be similar to all the other formations. I like to keep it somewhat the same, especially for the defensive style, build-up play, and chance creation. This will change a bit once we go to more of a pressing tactic, like an attacking or ultra attacking tactic. But on my balanced default tactic, which is what we usually play on, I pretty much never change this tactic in game. I keep it on this the whole time unless we need like a late goal to come back or we're down a couple goals, then I'll put it on constant press or do something like that. So I just have it on balance, team width on 45, depth on 65. I like to keep somewhat of a high depth so we can win the ball high up the pitch and then hit the counterattack, and you'll score a lot of goals like that. I know the 71 depth is a thing. This is a few days after the most recent update, which I do think they made a few changes to try and nerf the 71 depth. I think it's still going to be very good, but if you have like a real defender on your back line, I would be cautious of this because the AI bots on your back line will do an automatic offside trap at this depth. So if your center back or fullback, whoever it may be, isn't ready for them to do that, you might keep like an attacker on side and cost y'all a goal. So just to be safe, you could go 65 depth, but if y'all want to mess with that 71 depth and you have a full back line of AIs, it could be a good option. So that's up to you guys with that. And that pretty much goes for any formation that I'm about to show you guys. The width is on 40, but honestly with this one, you can switch it up. You can go 45, you can go 50 if you want to make it a little bit wider. I don't think it's really going to make too much of a difference anyways. Players in the box, I like to keep this pretty low. I don't really want AIs running in the box. They can take up space, take a pass away from your teammate that you're trying to hit it to. Usually you just want your real players bombing in the box. So I'll keep this kind of low on like 3 or 4. But again, that's kind of up to you guys if y'all want to switch that. And then same with the corners and free kicks. I want as much people back on the counter as possible, even if it's on one. I don't know, something with like, it's basically like the same as kickoff glitch when it comes to like set pieces. Your defenders just don't defend, they don't mark, they don't track. So even if it's on one, you can still get caught on counters, but this is just the best possible way to maybe defend a counterattack from your own corner. These player instructions are important for AIs and even for real players playing in a certain position. For example, say we have a real player playing left wing. What I like to do for the instructions on interceptions, I put it to conservative. Normally they're on normal interceptions, but if you have it on aggressive interceptions, it drains that real player stamina like crazy. So I'm assuming if you have it on conservative, it'll conserve their stamina. as much as possible. I found that out last year, and it really does affect the stamina, if mostly if it's on aggressive. And then for the chance creation, if they have this tactic, I know wingers and cams have this tactic. I like to put it on free roam, especially for wingers, so it doesn't just force them to stay on one side. They can switch it up, go to the other wing, maybe come inside more, and just have that little bit of unpredictability and more of that free flowing offense. So I do that for both of my wingers. You'll see are on free roam and conservative interceptions. The cam is on free roam. It's on get into the box, but I would probably just put that on balance because normally you're going to have a real player in that cam spot. And then the striker is just on stay forward, conservative interceptions. This cam should also be on conservative interceptions. I don't know why it's not. And then the center mids, I usually just keep on normal interceptions. Sometimes these might be AIs, sometimes they might be real players, but usually you want one of them to be on stay back and then probably on stay on the edge of the box for the cross, something like this, to be more of a CDM. And then the other one's more of a balanced box to box midfielder type of player. And then the back line, stay back while attacking, aggressive interceptions on the fullback, and then overlap, stick to position, same for the left back. And then the center backs, I don't change anything. And then the goalkeepers on comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. So there's my balanced tactics and player instructions for this 4-3-3-4 formation. And now I quickly want to show you guys the other tactics that I have, like the defensive, attacking, and ultra attacking. But as I said, I rarely ever switch it to these tactics. I'm pretty much just keeping it on the balanced tactic like 95% of the time unless we need to change it. So I'm going to show you all the defensive one first, and it's a little bit more defensive minded. You have a lower depth, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is the same. Like the instructions are pretty much the same too. So I'm just going to go to the next one, the attacking one. This switches it up a bit. We have press after possession loss. I bumped the depth up to 71. Pretty much everything else stays the same. And then I think the instructions are pretty much the same. I guess you could maybe put the fullbacks on balanced, but I really wouldn't do that. Only on the constant press, which this is like the last ditch effort. If we need a couple goals and we're just full sending the press, this is the tactic I'm going to put on. 100 depth, constant pressure, balanced build-up play, and then I did change the chance creation to direct passing, and then I moved up the corners and free kicks a little bit. And then the instructions are pretty much the same, other than I did put the fullbacks on balance just to go up a little bit and help us on offense. The second formation that I'll be showing y'all is probably the rattiest and most defensive formation in the game. I don't even think it's in Ultimate Team because it would probably be so annoying to play against. It's a 5 in the back with a CDM and 2 center mids in front of it. And then that's a cam and a striker. I have defensive style, build-up play, and chance creation all on balance like I did last formation. Team width 40, depth 65 for defense. And then the offensive width is 45. Players in the box is low. And then corners and free kicks is all the way down. For the striker, I have conservative interceptions, stay forward, cam, free roam, conservative interceptions. CDM is on stay back while attacking. And then the 2 center mids are just on default. And then for the wing backs, I have stay back while attacking, aggressive interceptions, and overlap. I'm pretty much going to have this on every single wing back or fullback for my formations. And then the center backs are just default. And then the goalkeeper, like every formation, will have on comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. Now for the rest of the tactics. On defensive, I'm just lowering the depth to 45. And then for attacking, we're putting it on press after possession loss, bumping the depth up to 71. And then for ultra attacking, constant pressure, depth all the way to 100. And then I switch the chance creation to direct passing. But pretty much everything else stays the same. And then the instructions, for the most part, stay the same. Like on the ultra attacking, you could put it on join the attack for the fullbacks just to give y'all a little bit more offense, just to get that last desperation attack. If y'all need a goal to come back or something like that, then you can do that. But the rest of these instructions are pretty much the same. 4-3-2-1 is the next formation, and I think this is one of the best formations in the game. instead of there being wingers, they're actually listed at left forward and right forward, which really doesn't make much of a difference if they're going to be real players in that position. But if they are bots, they're going to be a little bit more tucked in than wingers playing a little bit more narrow. But the midfield is really the main difference compared to that 4-3-3-4 formation that I showed y'all first. That central midfielder isn't a cam. It's actually a defensive-minded player that's going to play more like a CDM, and then the left center mid and right center mid are going to be more box-to-box players. As you can see again, the tactics for this formation are pretty much the same as the other two, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time looking at this. The depth I have is 65, and then everything is on balanced. Looking at the other tactics, I actually have an ultra defensive one set, which I don't think we have ever used, but this is if you really just want to park the bus maybe. You can put it on drop back, slow build up, possession, lower the depth, and then everything else is the same as those other two formations, like press after possession loss, 71 depth, constant pressure, 100 depth. The instructions for the three forwards are on conservative interceptions and stay forward. And then the center mid needs to be the CDM defensive-minded player. So I put that on stay back while attacking and then stay on the edge of the box for the cross. This 4-1-3-2 formation is probably the most attacking formation out of the ones I'll be showing y'all. You have a CDM, a center mid that's not a cam. It actually is a center mid. There is another formation that's very similar. Instead of a center mid, it is a cam. So that would be even more offensive. But I feel like having that center mid is nice just to help that CDM a little bit on defense. And that's just going to be more of a box-to-box player that's just covering the field and maybe has some pretty good passing so he can feed the rest of the players, like those outside mids and those strikers. That center mid position is definitely the most important position in this formation. I don't want to even bother showing y'all the tactics for this formation because it's practically the exact same thing. So looking at the instructions, the two strikers, stay forward, conservative interceptions. Those are most likely going to be real players. The center mid I have on conservative interceptions and free roam, and then everything else is balanced. The outside mids I have on free roam, conservative interceptions, as I say I do for those wingers and cam positions. And then the CDM is stay back while attacking like usual, and then the fullbacks are the same. The fifth and final formation is the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. The original 4-1-2-1-2 turns those center mids to outside mids, so this is probably the most narrow formation in the game, but it's very good if you have a lot of midfielders just swarming and high pressing. You can win the ball a lot in the midfield with this formation. And it honestly plays somewhat similar to a 5 in the back or 3 in the back formation, the 5-2-1-2. You're pretty much just moving that central center back up to the CDM position and just adding more players into that midfield, and it's a little bit more offensive than a 5 in the back. The team width on this formation is 55, so it's actually a bit higher than most of my other formations. Because this is a narrow formation, I want to make it a little bit wider just so we can help defend the wide areas of the pitch. So the depth is 65, balance, and the width for offense is on 45. These player instructions aren't any different from the other formations I showed you guys. There you go, guys. That's going to complete this formation and tactics video for FC24 clubs. Stay tuned to the rest of the channel for a lot more clubs content coming. And very soon, I'm going to start making real player builds soon. And I think the first one is going to be over David Beckham. So you don't want to miss that. Hit that like button on this video for me. And then hit that subscribe button on my channel if you haven't already done so. As always, y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. And peace out.